all of you who are joining us. If we'd love it if you turn your cameras on if you can and show us your gorgeous smiling faces on this lovely Saturday morning. And I'm reading content or comments, and thank you for the compliment, Lori, on my haircut. Thank you, Marianne. Everyone, thank you for loving my haircut and for not telling me if you don't. Honestly, I am a human being, and that would completely ruin my day.
Oh,
but you still look fabulous.
At least part of it. So anyway, there you all are. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Let me go to page 2 here. Again, if you're comfortable enough, love the name Wicked Gingerbread, by the way, whoever that is. If you're comfortable enough turning your cameras on, and you can, we would love to see your smiling faces. This is an incredibly, I don't know how many of you have joined us for these events in our different series before, but if you have, this is a tremendously safe place. I want to thank you all for being part of the Modern Prairie community. It is, I don't want to speak for Nicole, and she will chime in, I'm sure, but she and I have marveled truly from the moment we started this endeavor and launched last May. We've marveled at how much our community has grown and how much our community actually feels like a community. I know that some of you are communicating now with each other. When we were talking about, we were doing all our series on grief and grieving, that you've been able to support one another through those things. And for me, that's just the best, because that's what human beings are supposed to do, right? We're supposed to connect with one another. We're not all solo artists. So I'm really enjoying seeing the love and support and MF and girl power, for lack of a better. I mean, let's go, ladies. It should always be our time, and it should always be our place. But I have to say that at the age that I am, and I've said it a bunch of times, I've said it on Modern Prairie, I said it in my last book, I say it in podcast, in wherever I am, in any interview or anywhere, this is the best time, I think, of my life, because I'm 100% me, and I've earned my opinions. I've done the research on all of my ideas and my thoughts. I am comfortable in my own skin. Yeah, my ankles are a little stiff in the morning. Well, okay, I'll stretch them out and then keep walking. I mean, that's just, there's a constant trade-off, but I wouldn't trade this off to be 20 again for all the money that the woman or person, whoever in Maine, won in the $1 billion lottery yesterday. Honestly, I am so content, and I just love that I'm able to share all of this and all of these changes and all of this life stuff with all of you. And as our community has grown, so have our mavens, our goddesses, our guides, our advisors. And I'm so excited, first of all, that Christine is with us for this exercise. If you've been through any of Christine's seminar is the wrong word, events, I would say, she's just phenomenal. And I'm sure you came out the other side feeling hopefully a little better, and feeling at least that you're not alone, which is the whole point of all of this. And today we're going to be having some kind of fun with Susie Schubert. Susie and I, by the way, if you didn't hear it, and some of you did because you have messaged in the chat, Susie and I are the first episode of our podcast launched yesterday. It's called The Nitty Gritty, and you can find it through, Nicole, the Modern Prairie website.
Sure, you can. So Modern Prairie, hi everyone. You can find it through Modern Prairie. You could also find it through your favorite podcast destination. So Spotify, Apple, it's there. So
fantastic. And Susie and I are we had the best time recording this podcast, and hopefully it shows, and hopefully there's more to come. It was sort of a chemistry test. I think one of the things that you guys, and we'll talk about this later, but I am revealing something here. Susie and I are brand new friends. And one of the things a lot of us have talked about is how difficult it is to make friends later. we sort of have our circle and that's it. And so if you listen to the podcast, you're going to watch a friendship bloom right in front of your very ears. And I'm so grateful to have this podcast and this opportunity with Susie, because it plays so beautifully into what my word is, which we talked about in the podcast. But before I get there, I'm going to let Susie take it away. I think, right, Nicole? That's the order we were doing this in.
Correct.
And she'll give you an idea of what we're doing and where we're headed.
Yay. Thanks, Melissa. I feel the same way. I mean, this is just such a fun adventure. But what makes it extra fun is that I'm partnering up with someone. Yeah, she's Melissa Gilbert, but she's hilarious and fun and real. And that's what this is all about. Nicole, did you want to go over any housekeeping things before we jump in with anything?
I think just everyone knows, or if you haven't joined these podcasts, oh my goodness, I've got podcasts on the brain. If you haven't joined these events before, everyone is muted, but you are welcome to raise your hand. Susie certainly has in the, in this event today, opportunities for everyone to participate, and we certainly hope that you will. So at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there is something that says reactions, and you can raise your hand. And I will be kind of moderating and making sure that everyone has an opportunity to contribute, because that's really why we're here. And then certainly if you haven't received I sent a couple of emails out last night, you should have received the worksheet. If you haven't, no worries. We will have an opportunity for you to download it after the session. And we are also recording this session as we have others, so you could refer back to it. So the intent here is just be present and connect with one another. And again, thank you for spending an hour of your morning with us. This is very, very special. And I think you'll get a lot out of Susie's, direction and some of the work that we've already done. It's been pretty amazing. So take it away, Miss Susie.
Thank you so much. I too want to start out by saying thank you all. As Nicole said, you took an hour out of your Saturday morning or afternoon, whatever it is where you are, to be with us. And we appreciate that so much. We know that's a big deal. Also, we are here for you. Yes, I'm going to be talking your ear off about a lot of stuff, but please, I'll be asking for people to chime in about things, and we really want to hear what you have to say. We want to see you. We want to hear you, all of the above. I have to start this workshop with a quote that Nicole, you posted a while, not that long ago, I think it was right around New Year, that I love so much. Every year you make a resolution to change yourself. This year, make a resolution to be yourself. So I don't know if you all saw that, on Official Modern Prairie, but when I saw that, I was like, yes, that's exactly what we're talking about here. So I felt like that was a great way to jump in. So before I go into this whole, word thing, I figured I should probably introduce myself so you know a little bit about me. If you have heard the podcast, sorry, going to be a repeat, but I'm sure not all of you have, so just going to get in there. So my name is Susie Schubert. I always like to say I'm kind of the self-proclaimed queen of wanderlust, meaning that throughout my life, as corny as it sounds, my life really has been about the journey. And believe me, I've struggled with that because, when you go to college and you get this job and that's your trajectory. And I've never been that person. I've always been the person that, I want to try that. I want to try that. And as fun as it is, sometimes you can start to feel a little lost if you're not okay with knowing that your life is about the journey. And I've come to peace with that. And I've pretty much tried and stuck my toe in and failed at a lot of different things. And, it's just kind of resulted in who I am today and all the crazy fun things that I do. I'd say probably the basis of everything that I do, though, is the fact that I have 17 years behind me as a certified life coach. So that obviously is part of me that always wants to get into the nitty gritty, ask questions and talk things to death. And what used to be, I started out as a one-on-one practice. I've sort of evolved into using that coaching wisdom or coaching stuff that I've learned throughout many different things that I do. So with that, I coach kind of with my work as a published author, as a speaker and presenter, doing workshops and classes like I'm doing right now, through podcasting. I've had other podcasts before the Nitty Gritty as well, and writing and creating content for Modern Prairie. Yay! And I am also what I call a tarot advisor, not so much a tarot reader, although I do read the cards, but I'm an advisor. And that's a whole nother topic that we could get into at some point, but we're not going to get into now. Let's just say it's all part of my unexpected journey, like finding fun ways to do things in my life. So I know that Nicole already went through the worksheet. I was going to make sure I brought that up, but it sounds like people should be good with that. I love the fact that we are starting this year here at Modern Prairie with the word intention. That's what this is all about. Our lives are so crazy, and yeah, men's lives are crazy, but I'm going to say women's lives are especially crazy because, and this is generalizing, of course, but I think obviously as women, we overthink and we get so emotionally involved in so many of our decisions and tasks that it just, it can feel like, okay, now I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. I'm going to check that off my list. But when you can do something with intention, it forces you to slow down a little bit, to really think, why am I doing this? What exactly am I going to do and what's behind what I'm going to do? Because I'm such a word nerd and I love to do this kind of thing, I thought, what does the word intention truly mean? So I looked it up, on my online dictionary, and the first definition I got was a thing intended. I was like, thanks, that's real helpful. Thanks, dictionary. But after that, it said an aim or a plan. And I kind of was like, well, that's not really what I wanted either. When I think of that, I think of a resolution, right? That sounds like a New Year's resolution to me, an aim or a plan. But then I started thinking about the word intention and how much it's like intuition. And I thought that's kind of a great marriage of that task mastering, I'm going to get this done, with thinking about and putting our thoughts, but also our soul into whatever it is we're doing, that actually is going to get us more to where we want and need to go than just crossing something off of a list. So we're going to talk about resolutions, why I don't personally think they're such a good thing, and this whole word thing, what is this all about? And so another thing about this, I'm getting ahead of myself here about this definition stuff. Like I said, I love it so much, and I'm just like, love to look into all of these things. Actually, I want to take a little break and go back to Melissa, putting her on the hot seat. Look at her.
Unmuted.
So I gave some of my ladies here basically this homework that we're going to do. And I'm curious, I would love to hear from each of them, just real quick, what they thought. So I actually gave them the worksheet and I told them, okay, let's try this word thing. So I'm curious to start with you, Melissa. You did talk about it a little bit on the podcast, but obviously I'm sure not everybody's listened to it yet. Tell us what your word is. I'm curious to hear, have you had resolutions in the past? How did they work for you? What did you think of this whole word thing?
I've like everybody else, I've had resolutions in the past, and they never, I always end up feeling like I fail them or I fail myself because I even if I don't set them incredibly high, but they're just very vague. They've always been very vague in general, right? Like, this year I'm going to exercise more. And as soon as I get a few weeks up, like I'll start exercising more like crazy, which is too much and takes up too much time. And then I'll back off of it, and then it'll fall by the wayside. And now I feel like I've let myself down and I've completely ignored my resolution, whatever it is. That's just an example. And so for a long time, I just stopped making resolutions. I just thought, at some point during the year, I'm going to decide that it's time to get a little more cardio, and I'm just going to do it when my body feels like it needs it. Or whatever that resolution was that I failed, but I don't
Sure.
really, I think there's enough in life that happens without our help making us feel like failures, right? So I gave up resolutions a few years back, but when you told me about the setting of the word, the intention, it excited me. It really excited me because it felt like something way more constructive and way more manageable and much more gentle and user-friendly. And because, like you say, it's a journey, not a destination. And for me, it's all about progress without perfection. There's no way I'm going to be perfect at it. As much as I want to be perfect at it, as much as I, by the way, would love to have sat down and filled out every line of the worksheet, which I normally would do, but life got in the way. And so I started to kind of stress out and think, well, I've got to find this word. I've got to find this word. And I'm thinking of all these things. And sure enough, I was in a yoga class, and
Perfect.
the yoga instructor in passing said this word. And I went, oh, that's my word. So as much as I tried to control the process of finding what I needed, it happened organically. And my word, if you didn't hear on the podcast, our podcast, my word is maybe. And the reason why I love this word so much and it works so well for me is because I'm the person who sits down and fills out the questionnaire the best of anybody. Maybe I don't have to. Maybe I don't have to know exactly where I'm going every day. Maybe I don't have to have every moment planned out. Or as my husband says, he refers to my brain as a wall with Post-it notes all over it and everything in its place. And I follow the Post-it notes where they're supposed to go. And I put them there and I know what's coming. And my analogy for him was that when I met him, he basically walked up to the wall and slammed his hands to it and the Post-it notes went flying. And I felt like I was free falling. But now that's maybe I don't have to do all of that. Maybe it'll just work itself out. Maybe I don't have to clear everything off of this table that I'm looking at right now as soon as we're finished with this. Maybe I can do it in little bits and he can do some, and it doesn't have to be, it's maybe I should cut my hair. That was a big one. Maybe I should cut my hair. Maybe it's time. Maybe this is too much. Maybe I shouldn't have eaten that fried chicken, but maybe I should have. Maybe I needed it. I don't know. Whatever it is. Maybe for me is a very freeing word, and it allows me more room to just be me, I think.
I love that. And I love how, as we were talking about it, you really sounded out the word as may be.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, maybe, like, may it be. Let's let it be. But yeah, exactly. I love that. I love that so much because I told her, I'm like, maybe, I don't know. It sounds a little not committal when I first heard it. Then as she explained it, I was like, that's perfect for her. Yep. And again, that's not going to be for everybody, right? That's Melissa's word and it fits her and it's perfect. And she did her homework. What a good girl. Even if she did fill out the worksheet. Look, mine's blank too. So there it is. Now, Christine, I gave you the homework too. She did that worksheet.
I did. I did do the worksheet. Because I can't say that, hi, everybody. Happy New Year.
Yay.
And I love your word, Melissa, because it's a word that for everybody's going to have a different meaning or a definition. But I'm also a word nerd. I'm a geek. Even when I'm in meetings, I'll go on my thesaurus, I'll go get the definition and think, is this really the word that I want to be using right now? And I found the definition, writing down the definitions were, at least I found that I was consistent that like one of the definitions was one of my other words. So I'm like, all right, I'm on the same path here. And my word, because how I wanted to feel, I knew I wanted to feel quietly confident. Because as I've said before, I was in sales for 30 years. I can sell the heck out of a product. Trying to feel confident in me as my own business, that's a little uncomfortable. It's a lot uncomfortable. And so my word, so I'm like quietly confident. I like that. And as I was going through it, my word for the year is bold.
Mm,
And what
Yep.
that looks like or feels like within each area of my life, I may not be able to articulate it right now, but the minute I said it, I'm like, yep, that's right.
yep.
And it
Yep.
was, be bold in my life, be bold in work, be bold in personal, be bold in fitness. Now, what does that mean? That just means bold for me. And that is different than somebody else's bold.
Exactly.
I heard the word audacious, and I'm like, I didn't like that word. So that is my word. But the whole process for me was almost therapeutic.
Oh. Good. I'm glad to hear that. And remind me again, what were the first two words you thought of before you got to bold?
Quietly confident.
What
And
I
so
think
it
is,
was, go ahead.
yeah, I'm sorry. What I think is so interesting about this, when I hear quietly confident, it's so far from bold, but in some ways it's not. Because like you said, it depends on how you're looking. What bold means to you could definitely be quietly confident. It doesn't have to be loud and in your face. Right. And this is the kind of stuff that we're getting at with this word thing, everybody, is just there's these subtle nuances, but they make such a difference, and that's why we do the definitions, and we'll go over all that. Nicole, I just wanted to check in with you because I gave you the homework too. Did you know you're going to be in the hot seat?
Yes, I
Okay.
guess so.
Okay.
Normally not. I think for me, what was great about this process is it really made me step back and think about who is this word for? So many times when I've made a resolution, get healthy, lose weight, do this, it's a kind of a knee-jerk reaction to an expectation or what I think I have to do. So in going through this exercise, I started with the word delegate. Then Susie and I went back and forth and it became flow. And I'm really not a go with the flow person. So as I started to really dig in and spend time, which I found really cathartic, kind of mimicking Christine, like it was really this process, thinking through words, looking at definitions, the thesaurus, the synonyms, going down that rabbit hole and allowing myself to do that. I got to my word, which is pause. And, so much of Melissa's laughing, but it's true. I mean, no, I love it. So much of my life and is go. And so taking a moment to pause and just breathe, it changes perspective, it changes reaction. And so I think for me, this is something that, having it on a post-it, pause, it's just a moment to remind ourselves and me, the world isn't going to end. At the end of the day, we're not doing things that are going to save the world. But it's okay to take that moment to think, reset, and breathe. So it was great. And I think Susie's clapping. Melissa, I know you're going to say something. What are you going to say?
She's bursting
I
over there.
I love this word for you so much. I just,
Yeah.
I don't know. It warmed my heart. It just is such a great word for you.
Isn't that
Thank
true?
you.
Because all of us are like, what, Nicole, you're doing that too, and you're doing that and that and that. And it's like, I know it makes me feel, when you say it, I'm just like, oh, yes. Yes, that's what we want for you. And it's not always going to be easy to do, right? Like, but it's a constant reminder. And that's really what this is all about. So I want to take a break from us and reach out to all of you. I'm curious, first of all, let's ask about resolutions. Who still loves their resolution? We're not here to bash on anybody that still loves their resolution. That is perfectly fine. But I would love to hear from, any of you, if that's something you've always done. What have you thought about resolutions? How have they worked for you in the past or work for you now? Does anybody want to chime in about that? Oh, I see a Melissa mug. Yay! Melissa mug. Oh, look at that little bee. I love that.
Virtual toast.
Love, love, love. Does anybody want to raise their hand? Remember, you can do that down below, or you can even just raise your hand.
We've got Angela, Susie, who's raised her hand. Angela,
Great.
if you can,
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
we can.
Yeah. I have this lovely quote that I found that is why I've stopped doing resolutions. And it says that resolutions usually don't work because they come from a place of lack and not from a place of love. And so that has resonated with me now and that's where this whole podcast so far, everything so far, I've heard it's coming from a place of love instead of I should, I should stop eating, or I should. The no more with the shoulds, because that's not coming from a place of love.
Oh, I love that. In fact, that's what I've told a lot of people to ask, when they're thinking about making decisions and things. It's like, does this feel like love? If it feels like love, then you're going in the right direction. If it doesn't, you need to reevaluate a little bit. So I absolutely love the quote. I love that it touched you and it made you rethink. And it kind of goes, what Nicole was saying about those expectations, right? That's not us. That's not who we are inside. And that's what we're trying to get to. And there's no judging who we are. It's just who we are, right? Does anybody else want to chime in on that? Anybody else raising their hand? What about words? What was really fun is when we posted, I see a hand there. Did you want to talk about resolution or the words? See your
Words.
name here, Lori.
Words.
Yeah. Go for it.
So I'm really enjoying this too. And I semi filled out the worksheet. But I really had to stop and think about it and what would fit. And what it came down to is very similar to Nicole's, but it was patience. I've worked for many, many years in a very high stress, high pressure job. I work in the healthcare industry. And there's so many rules and regulations and so forth that we have to comply with. And everybody wants it now, including myself. And it's not just work, in society. I think we've become conditioned to instant gratification. We can get same day delivery. We can go through the drive-through and the food's ready as soon as we get to the window. And we develop a little bit of that Veruca Salt mentality. Don't care how, I want it now. But it's, as I've grown older, I'm in my mid 50s. It's okay to take time to just be patient. And I have some days a 2-hour, I consult. So some days I have up to a 2-hour drive one way to work. And the podcast was great, by the way. So listen to week 0 and week 1, on the way. And it's okay to slow down, be patient. Things are going to happen when they happen. A lot of that is out of our control. And it's okay to set boundaries when, you've got 10 people coming at you and they all want it now. You have to prioritize. Okay, you're not first on the list. You're going to have to be patient, and I will get to it when I get to it. And it's okay to be patient with deadlines and so forth, as long as they're met. But it's okay to take that time to go out with the kids to dinner and come back to, whatever you're doing. And so being patient, and I think just being is what's important to me right now at this point in my life.
That's beautiful. Yeah. It's true. And for me, patience is one of the hardest things. Like I'm just so excited and ready to move on with this or that, or frustrated and I want it to be over. Or I want it to start. So that's a really good word. And it sounds like it's perfect for you. I love that. So I see another hand here, Marianne. You want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I think I might have COVID or something like it. So I
I'm
apologize.
sorry.
I apologize for my
Glad
voice.
you're here.
I am
Aw.
too. Thank you. To me, resolutions have such a negative connotation to them. It makes me feel like I'm not good enough the way I am. Every resolution is a way to improve or just be different than the way I am.
Mm.
And that's why they fail.
That is perfect. Yep, that is exactly. I couldn't put it in better words. I think that's really hitting it exactly where it's at. Yeah, and I loved. Oh, we have another hand here. Samsung. You must have a name other than Samsung. Oh, we're not hearing you. Do you want to unmute
You're
yourself?
going to need to unmute.
And what's your name? Have you unmute? You have to unmute yourself. Can we do that for her?
No, she needs to unmute, unfortunately. There we
Okay.
go.
There we go.
Oh my
What's-
gosh, can y'all see me?
Yes, we can see you and we can hear you. And I'd love to know your name.
Oh my gosh, I'm actually seeing Melissa Gilbert.
There she is.
I am so sorry. I know I'm the one, I sound like a stalker and everything, but I'm the one that's got the collection that I sent to the host of Official Modern Prairie and along with the reason that the show meant so much to me.
Oh,
Nicole knows that. Yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm in shock.
that is so fun. Now, so do you want to chime in about resolutions or the word, or you just wanted to say hi to Melissa?
Oh my gosh. I'm like, she's my hero. She's my hero.
Oh.
Well, we
She
understand that.
always has been. And
Aw.
I'm just going through a really hard time right now. I've always been put down all my life. I've been through a whole lot since I was little. And I just found out that my job as the director at the Board of Elections, I have a board that has actually turned on me. And I've been there, for 18 years. And the 29th, I'm being terminated. And they have no proof. And I'm having knee replacement surgery next month. So
Oh, wow.
just keeps getting bigger. It's kind of hard to come up with a word right now.
Yes. And did you say Julie was your name?
Judy, Judy.
Judy. First of all, thank you so much for being vulnerable and getting on here and telling us what's going on with you, because that's the other thing about stuff like this. It's really easy to just like, oh, let's think of a word and let's live our lives and let's, I don't want to sound disingenuous with all of this, because I want people to know that we're all where we are, and a word is not going to necessarily fix that, right? I mean, it's bigger than that. But I think for you, I would just invite you to be kind to yourself, because you're going through all of this right now. And I'm glad you're here, because not because of the word, not because we're, Melissa and I and Christine are here, because we're all here. We are a community. That's what Modern Prairie is all about, to support each other. And even if we can't physically do anything for you, even though we wish we could, we're here for you and we're listening. You have a voice. We hear you. We're sorry that you're going through this. And
That's
You know,
why that's why the show always, I surround myself with my collection everywhere I go, because it was my safe place to
yeah,
always go. Nobody could touch me. And I still watch it every day.
oh,
Well,
I
Judy,
could probably recite it to you.
I don't think we have time. That would take a year. That show was 230 some odd episodes. I love that you love it that much. Judy, I just want to chime in because I want to give everyone a chance to talk too, but I just want to chime in and second a lot of what Susie said. We hear you. We're here for you. This whole community is. It's not just us. And if I had to pick a word for you, my word for you would be gentle. Just be gentle with you. That's
Oh
all.
my gosh.
And if we were with you right now, we'd be hugging you and being gentle with you. So be
I would
gentle.
probably faint. You are my hero, Melissa, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, love. I'm gonna go mute now. And
Okay.
know that we hear you, and we're around. You can always email the website and they'll forward stuff on if need be to Suze or Christine or whomever.
yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for being here and reminding us that, a lot of these things that we talk about, they're things to help us move forward. But, we also need to stay grounded with everything. And not all of us are having this moment of the new year, So thank you, Judy, for coming on and saying that. Thank you for being here with us. But one thing I will also say that I loved is that as soon as we posted that we were doing this workshop, people were already throwing out a bunch of words. Becky said adventure, which I'm like, yes. Rebecca's was alive with an exclamation point. I mean, I loved that she actually put the exclamation point on there. Rachel wrote bounce. And I was like, I don't know if Rachel's here, but I would love to hear why somebody picked bounce. I mean, I think I have an idea, but that's really a cool word, right? They really put some thought into that word. And that's what's so great about this. So a lot of you have already talked about, you already know about why a word is just so much more powerful than a resolution. I mean, one of the things that we have gone through with this pandemic, right? The world can change. You may have these grand plans and you may be doing everything quote unquote right, but things can change in your life. And the pandemic was a perfect example of that. And so are you going to run around feeling like you failed because you didn't get to do XYZ because there was a pandemic? And it sounds ridiculous, but our minds go there. We do. I'm wondering if that's happened to anybody here, not about the pandemic, but where you set a resolution and then something in your life changed drastically and you couldn't, feel free to raise your hand if anybody wants to chime in on that. The other thing is, guess what? You may change your mind, and that's okay. You may set a resolution for yourself, and because your life changes or something in your life changes, that resolution doesn't fit you anymore. But if you're like me, this little oh, I'm such a Virgo, I always say, people always tell me, oh, you're such a Virgo, which makes me laugh. But I'm like, I have my plan, right? And if I don't do that plan, that it's even though I know better logically, I still can't help but get caught up in that. But oftentimes, if we change our resolution, that's a good thing. That means there's a reason we want to change it. And change is good when it's something, obviously, that we can control and flow with. We're in a place where we can flow with that change. So you could change your mind. And so resolutions can sometimes make you feel funky about that. In fact, Nicole, you were even saying to me something about that you felt really stubborn about something that had changed and you weren't able to continue with that resolution. And it really did bother you. I don't know if you want to chime in about that at all, or
Again, it goes back to, I'm very type A. So I think if I set a resolution and I know it's not right for me, just the stubbornness and self-awareness that I want to make that happen. But then again, it ultimately fails. And then it's a self-perpetuating cycle of, all these negative feelings. So I think the word here is definitely, it's a focused word that we can, and I certainly can feel good about.
Yeah, that's great. And another thing is, I think Angela, I think if she's I don't see her face now, so I hope I'm talking about the right person, but she kind of brought up that whole expectation and all of that. It's very much like, where did this resolution come from? And we've all kind of touched on that a little bit. Is that something that we truly, our inner essential selves, as Martha Beck would say, is that who we want to be? Are you choosing that? Are you like, well, I'm going to sign up for the gym because my friend Mary is at the gym, and that's what I'm going to do. But inside, you hate the gym. You don't want to go to the gym. You'd rather dance around in your living room to a video, or, go for walks every day. But you're making that resolution to go to the gym when that's not really you. So, messages expectations we put on ourselves, or even things like deep down that we learned from growing up or other people around us or society. Oh, we should lose 20 pounds. Well, guess what? Maybe you don't really need to lose 20 pounds. Maybe you just think you do because that's what people say you need to do. So it's things like that, again, all those resolutions, we can come up with a better way. And that's where the word comes from. So you've heard Christine talk about this. We've talked about mindset. That's really what this is all about, right? It's not just checking something off of a list, a task. It's about putting yourself in that mindset of where it is you want to go. And so how do we do that with this word? Yes, we use our brains to think of this word and we noodle it out and we come down to one that it feels right for us, but that's the key. It feels right for us. We don't overthink the word when we're like, it happened to Melissa. It happened to Nicole. It happened to Christine. They came upon it and they went, yes, that's it. And because it was a feeling, and even if it doesn't end up being the exact word, you're getting that feeling that's telling you you're on the right track. And that is so important. And I know this is another thing Christina mentioned. Our brains are physically wired to think negatively. Did you know 80% of our thoughts are negative? And that is not our fault. We are wired. Our brains are wired. It's that whole fight or flight thing. It's keeping us safe. I always joke around. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings nerd. I'll always find a way to bring that up in everything. And if any of you have watched the movies or read the books and you know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry if you don't, but there's this little guy named Gollum, and he's a tragic little being. And he literally has two sides of himself. There's this one side that's always trying to do the right thing and wants to get back to his old self. And then there's this other side that is like, nobody likes you. You can't do that. You'll never do that. And so I always call that my Gollum voice. That's the one in my head going, they're not going to call you, even though they said they would. They're not going to give you the promotion because you don't really deserve it. Whatever it is, we always go there first, don't we? And it's not because we may not have faith in ourselves or we haven't done the work. It's automatic. And that's a whole nother thing I could talk about. But again, that's why, what do we do if we don't want to overthink something? What do? We feel it. And again, that's a whole thing we could go into maybe in the future of how do you know how you feel about things? Where do you feel it physically in your body when you're happy? Where do you feel it physically in your body when you're sad? Those kinds of things. But this is all getting down to why this word is so not expensive. Why did I say expensive? What do I have going on in my intuition? Isn't that funny? Someone's got a hand raised here. Joy, I'd love to hear you. Have something you want to chime in with? I think you need to unmute yourself, my dear.
I'm trying.
There you go. I hear you.
Okay. Are we good? Can you
You're
hear me?
good. Yep.
Oh, I'm on. Awesome.
You're on.
Hey, everybody. I'm Joy.
Hi, Joy.
So Joy here. I'm a blooming soul and a metal maven. So I was so excited to see that is a term that is being embraced by Modern Prairie. Not messing with my lifelong fascination and respect for Melissa and her journeys, I just found my word. And
Oh.
my word is onward.
Oh. That, and
I
that kind of
think,
has a Lord of the Rings term, to, sound to it. So I
yeah,
especially
I'm a
love.
Tolkien fan too, but not,
Hey!
like, yeah. However, in journeying, the point is to keep going. And I think onward has more intention than forward.
Mm-hmm. You're so right, because forward is kind of like not thinking about it, just moving forward. I mean, it can be
Just a trajectory. Yeah.
exactly, but onward feels like I'm choosing this to happen. I'm moving myself forward.
Yes. Intentional effort. And
yeah.
yeah, and not having control of the outcome or the end of the destination, and just enjoying the journeying of onward. And so I got to look up, and I'm a word nerd too, so I love that y'all threw that out there. And and some of the support staff and facilitators at Blooming Soul, and our journeys of being agents of healing for those who've suffered, trauma. We're all word nerds. And so we like to get down to that root and the root cause of we don't like to ask ask the question, why, even though that's a knee-jerk reaction for us as humans. Why? It's more like, what
Mhm.
am I to embrace in this journey? What am I to learn about myself, and maybe how, can I influence others in a positive way from my experience? And so we want to keep that very forward, and in our
Mhm.
and in our leadings others, through and offering them hope.
Yeah.
If you read that description, of our mission, it's to work, to approach from a place of peace. And so I love
Mhm.
that y'all put that out there,
Good.
from a place of love, and that really is. And we can't love others if we don't love ourselves in a healthy way.
No, that's
So
wonderful. And I feel like
kudos to everybody
onward,
being here.
yeah, onward is definitely just a great word that encapsulates all of that. So great job. Great job.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Yeah, so sorry, I lost you there, but we need to move on. I mean, honestly, we could talk about this all day, and I don't want to take up too much of everybody's time. The last thing I want to say, that's what's so fabulous about this word, is that it is an intention. Remember, that's the whole theme of Modern Prairie right now. And the thing about an intention, remember, it's kind of that mix between work to get somewhere, but also letting your sort of soul, inner self, whatever you want to call it, lead the way. And what magically happens is when you can find a way of feeling and you can find your word, it's going to lead you without you even trying too much. Like there is that goal and resolution. Sure, of course we want to make goals, of course, but you're going to ease your way more authentically toward that goal when it's not just something to check off a list, when it's something you've thought about, and you may reach that goal in a way that you never even dreamed. I mean, I want to go over this worksheet. I want to make sure we have time for this worksheet, but I just want to share really quick with you how I even got to Modern Prairie, because it's pretty amazing. So my word last year was expand. Okay. I kind of started with growth. I want to grow. There's a lot of things I want to grow. Of course, I was doing many different things, and I kind of wanted to settle and, what's the thing I love and how can I grow with it? And as I was going, it was the same thing. I started with growth. A couple, I don't know, months later, I heard the word expand, and I was like, that's it. Because it's, a little step beyond, right, of growth. And so all year I was expanding myself. And the thing with this word, everybody, is that you want to think of it in all the areas of your life. How am I expanding my business? How am I expanding my inner self? How am I expanding my connections with my husband or partner or my family? How am I expanding my friendships? all of these things, you think about the word and how it fits in every area of your life, even what you're surrounding yourself by. If I'm sitting in a home office, do I feel expanded in this home office? And how would I? Is it too cluttery? I need to get rid of stuff so I can expand. All of those things, those are the things that you surround yourself with. So anyway, as I was going through this process, I came upon Modern Prairie, and I fell in love with the brand so much as far as what it stood for and everything about it. And who doesn't love Melissa? And now who doesn't love Nicole? Oh my goodness. And so I reached out and I said, I don't know if you're going to want this, but I literally said, if you don't ask, the answer's always no. I think you need a blog. I think you need someone to write for you. This is what I do. I'm a tarot advisor. Did you think they would be like, yeah, we're into that? But this is how I use it in a very self-development way. Nicole was like, yes, you couldn't have come at a better time. And then I said, I think Melissa should do a podcast. And she said, I think she should do it with you. That was not something I was planning, right? But because I expanded myself and lived by that word, here I am. When you think about how you want to feel, you follow that word. My wildest dreams came true that I never even knew I had. And I get goosebumps just thinking about it. And it's not luck. It's not that I wished upon a star and I manifested all of this stuff. I'd love to think I was that powerful. I am not. I did the work. So anyway, that's a whole nother thing we could talk about. So let's get to the worksheet. Okay. Get to the worksheet. So again, here's where I'm going to tell you, you can break every rule. Look at Melissa. She didn't even fill the darn thing out. And you know what? That's okay. She got to her word. We love that. You can write on a piece of paper. You can keep it all in your head. So if you don't have the worksheet right now, don't worry about it. Because honestly, we don't have time to do this exercise together. And I don't want to do this exercise together. I want you all to take your time with this. That is so important. This is an important thing. I want you to try to find a quiet moment where you could be alone. You light a candle. You could do whatever you do to make you feel centered in the moment and really work through this. Because the more you can get down to the core, the more powerful it's going to be for you. There's no right or wrong. Okay. How do I want to feel? This is what we've talked about a lot. So this isn't what do I think should be my word. It's don't even think about necessarily the word. Think about how do I want to feel in my daily life throughout this time? Do I want to feel more calm? Do I want to feel excited? Do I want to feel? Don't try to overthink the word. Okay. Just how do I want to feel? Possible words. These are the ones that first pop up in your head where you're like, okay, I think that could be it. Yeah. Okay. That sounds pretty good. I like that word. And guess what? You may end up using that word. You never know. But let's go through the process and make sure. Definitions. This is that part I love that Christine really loved. And I think it is really, really important because as you know, we talked a long time ago about happy, right? In one of Christine's workshops. Sure, we all want to be happy, but happy means a lot of different things. In fact, I was laughing because I have to find it now. When I was looking up happy, the first definition that came, I can't even find it. Oh, here we go. Feeling or showing pleasure or contentment. Okay. And then literally it gave me, I'm not even joking. The little example was Melissa came in looking happy and excited. Isn't that hilarious? It said Melissa. I loved it. I'm like, it's meant to be. And then more words it threw out were cheerful, merry, jovial, joyful. Okay, now think about all those words and how different they are. To me, content is much different than joyful. It's got a whole different energy. Content has this calm energy. Jovial is like, woohoo, in your face. So this is what I'm talking about. So look up the definition of these words and how they feel to you. Do I feel content or do I want to feel content or do I want to feel joyful? Then we've got, so that's the definitions. Then we've got similar words. Guys, being a word nerd, I love a thesaurus. Love a thesaurus. One of my favorites is the Power Thesaurus that's online, if you don't want to get it out in your hands. But there is something to be said. If you've got that old school dictionary, off of Miss Beadle's desk, Of course, the words in there are probably not close to what we're saying now, for better or for worse. But getting that in your hand is really fun. And look up the words. Basically this happy definition did that, right? It picked different words that could be that word. Once you settle in, write the word. Then I want you to think about your intentions. Like I mentioned, if my word for this year is amplify, I was going to keep it as expand because I love that word and it's worked well for me. But I kind of want to just nudge myself a little bit farther. So I'm going to amplify. I want to be loud. I want to be out there. I want to be, no holes barred. Like I want to get out. I want to amplify. And what's fascinating to me is my journey with this amplification started as, attempting to be a rock star in Hollywood. And now I'm on a podcast with Melissa, like full circle amplify, right? Getting my voice out there. Crazy. So anyway, that's my word. And so then I think, okay, how am I going to amplify my relationships? How am I going to amplify my career? How am I going to, so do that with your intentions. Think of specific things on how that word is going to help move you forward with the different areas of your life. Maybe, how am I going to amplify my room? Maybe I need to start adding more color, right? Who knows? Before we wrap all this up, I just want to go over the caveats. I'm all about breaking rules. Rules are guidelines. So be a rebel with this, everybody. Yes, I want you to take it seriously. Yes, I want you to really take your time. You don't have to pick one word. Maybe you like a phrase. Maybe if Nicole had like go with the flow, that's a phrase. That's great. You can do a phrase. You could pick more than one word. I mean, who knows? Think about the fact that, again, we talked about change. Your word might change halfway through the year, and that's okay. Like I said, mine did. I thought it was growth. It changed to expand. I was really hooked on growth, and that worked for me, but it changed because life changes, and that's okay. This isn't about setting resolutions. This isn't about setting expectations. This is about always making sure you're checking in with where you're at, and it might very well change. And, again, make sure it's your word, not somebody else's. Make sure it's something that you really feel for yourself. And you don't have to tell anybody else that word, but put that word on a Post-it note. See it all the time, making sure you're thinking about it all the time in everything that you do. And gosh, I'm so excited to hear what everybody, I hope people will chime in and share their words and how they got there. And also, before we sign off, Christine's got this great workshop coming up that is the perfect tandem to this whole word exercise. So Christine, if you want to chime in a little bit about that,
I will.
That would be faboo.
Thank you. Thank you. Taking your energy is infectious. I have to say. Part of my bold is putting that kind of energy out more. So workshop, it's going to be a 2-part workshop. We really hope that you join. I really hope that you join. And it is all about vision boarding. And it is, Susie used a lot of words. That was no pun intended. But she did, she, how you feel is so much more in vision boarding than people really think it is. Because we may get to that journey, or we may get to that goal, and we're like, well, okay, well, now I got the $1 billion because I bought the ticket. Now what? It's not giving me the feelings that I want it to. Well, now, okay, the scale says that what I want it to say, but well, now what? So part of the visioning boarding is, and we'll get into all of that, is what is it that you want to create? What is it that you want to manifest? And that's a word that's thrown around a lot, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done on that. But boy, part of that is the game plan. Part of that is visioning what you want, envisioning what you want. And this is really just a very fun, creative way to do it. So we're going to talk about, yes, vision boarding, and what you're going to need to do that. So the first workshop is the whole game plan. And then we're going to come back a week and a half or 2 weeks later And we're going to share. And that word needs to be on your vision board. A picture of you needs to be on that vision board. And so when we come back, we're going to talk about the vision boarding, and even better, we're going to be able to break down into small groups and talk about it with people, talk about it with the community, that we can actually voice and get the support of, this is what I want with my health, and this is what I want with my physical surroundings, and really be able to share and, talk about it. Because when we talk about it, I think we all get more excited about things. And then we really do want to work towards making it happen in our lives. So that's there's two-part workshop, really interactive. Again, I want you to bring the second time, bring the vision boards, show it when we break down. We'll jump into all of the different groups and just have a lot of fun with it. That's
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. Thanks, Christine. That's so exciting. I cannot wait to be there. And here's the other thing. It would be great for you if you had your word for the vision boarding. That would be wonderful because you could incorporate that. But if you don't, that's okay too. It might actually help you get closer to your word. So I just wanted to put that in there too.
Hey, Susie, really quick,
Yeah.
we have a question from Anna.
Yes.
So
Hi, Anna. Sorry, we didn't mean to ignore you.
Oh, no, that's okay. I just want to say thank you and point out this. It's almost so simple and so brilliant that you don't have to force these fake rules, which is what a resolution is, on yourself, that you then feel like you're a failure for not doing. And the immediate similarity to, I'm so loving this Maven group that you've created for all of us. And that was the journaling, because I have for my entire life always felt like a failure at journaling, because I don't sit there and take time every day. It's in the morning, it's in the night. You didn't write. What did you do? You're such, and the brilliance of someone just saying, if you only write when you're in a good mood, when you're in a bad mood, you can go back and read it, has literally changed my life. So this same thing of, wait, what am I doing? This is, I'm creating the problem. And here I had this just, again, just beautifully, brilliantly simple of just stop it. So thank you. I don't know why it's never occurred to me, but I'm loving this. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you are so welcome. And thank you for saying that out loud for everybody to hear, because yeah, wow. And as far as writing goes, I mean, I could go off about that writing is so important in so many ways, but only when you're feeling like that's what you really want to do. I mean, yeah, there's no rules that that's something you have to do. So love.
Okay. All righty. Well, I'm gonna hop in here, I think.
Yes.
Nicole, once again, you are the maven of putting together the most extraordinary group of women. I am so grateful and so happy. And I have to say that when Susie referenced Miss Beadle's dictionary, the first word that popped into my head was Pecksniffian. Now, if you're a word nerd, you know what that
All
means.
right. I guess I'm not that much of a word nerd because I do not know what that
Well,
word
I
means.
did I mean, I had to look up the actual definition. It means hypocritical or holier than thou is the definition I know, but I wanted to figure out where it came from because it would be a Beadle word. And it actually comes from Seth Pecksniff was a character with a holier than thou attitude in a Charles Dickens novel written in 1844 in the novel Martin Chuzzlewit. And it just evolved to mean haughty or hypocritical or holier than thou, Pecksniffian. So there's a word. It has nothing. I'm definitely not going to be using that as my word for the year. I think Pecksniffian is probably kind of a negative. So with that,
I'm
gonna
writing
say
it down
that.
though.
Just to let you know, and it's funny too because it sounds funny. And don't we all just want to laugh at people who are holier than thou? So next time someone who gives you that attitude, just think, oh, you're such a Pecksniffian.
Yes, it does give you that nose like kind of thing.
It'll help you to not engage.
Very good. Very good. Thank you for sharing that word. We all feel a little bit smarter right now. Thanks to you and Miss Beadle.
Yes, exactly. And Charles Dickens. Ladies,
True.
thank you once again for an extraordinary seminar, gathering, sharing of ideas, thoughts, feelings, workshop, all this love. Christine, Susie, Nicole, my goddesses, and all of my wonderful friends in our community. Thank you so much for sharing of yourselves. I so look forward to this coming year and all of the wonderful growth and boldness and pausing and maybes and all of the incredible words that you guys came up with. And I will see you very, very soon. If I don't see you before, happy Galentine's Day. I would say that it's probably even more fun to celebrate it with a bunch of girlfriends and go out to lunch. I'm not a big fan of Valentine's Day, so I like a Galentine's Day. And watch the Modern Prairie website because we're going to have lots of fun stuff cooking all around the Galentine's concept and giving and sharing and all of that good stuff. So we will see you all soon. Stay well, stay healthy, stay contented in your lives. And I send you oceans of love. You guys be good.
Thank you so much, everybody. for being
Thank
here.
you, Susie.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.